Like, you see guys like Canelo who get no credit, who started off as mainly a welterweight, or maybe a couple fights, was dominant at junior middleweight, but has jumped, went as high as light heavyweight to beat a very good fighter. And he not only beat him, he stops him, knocks him out, and gets absolutely no credit.
What is good, Danger Zone Boxing Talk? It is BC Left Hook. I'm here on my solo tonight, unless Twine pops on. Nonetheless, we are blessed to have Brittany Goossen Brown in the house. And Brittany, you want to tell everybody where they can follow you on social media?
On Instagram, it's Brit_GB, and Facebook, I guess, Brittany Goossen Brown. Oh, and I'm on Twitter, but I never use it. It's under Brittany Goossen on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And for those who don't know, you're someone that's been involved in some rather big fights behind the scenes. And I wanted you to come on and talk about some of the things you've done. You've been honored by the Nevada Hall of Fame. I found some of the fights that you were involved in, not some of the more recent ones, unfortunately, but big fights. And you do the pre-fight Zoom. So give us an idea about your everyday going about. You know what I'm saying?
So, I mean, pre-COVID, when things were a little bit easier, I would handle all the medicals and transportation, hotel, logistics, that kind of thing, set up the press conferences, the weigh-in. There was fight after fight. I used to say I need one solid day in the office to get everything done for a show. Order the ring mat, the canvas, the this, the that, the ring builder, the insurance, all of the fun stuff behind the scenes no one thinks about. That was my duty. It's switched a little bit now. That we have two very solid locations, even though we've thrown in Texas now. But it's the bubble logistics have been a real treat to learn about. So that's been crazy, but I'm getting really used to it now, which I didn't want to in the beginning, but it's becoming a way of life at this point, and we're doing it safely and getting these shows off week after week. So proud of the team and proud of all of us putting in the work.
Should be. The cards have been excellent. You're someone that's been around boxing your whole life. Your dad is Joe Goosen, and I'm sure you have been in and out of boxing gyms. Is that what got you into your current employment? Was it a passion?
That's actually my uncle. Joe's my uncle.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's okay. There's a whole bunch of us. So my dad's Tom. But yeah, I was born into boxing. I didn't know anything else. I mean, there's videos of my brother and me at the 10 Goose Boxing Gym at like 4 or 5 years old, running around. I guess that's what gives me passion. I don't know. I don't know that I would even know about boxing if I didn't grow up in the family that I did, to be honest. Yeah. But I mean, all of my family memories are like our vacations, are the fun with my cousins. It was on the road. It was at fights. I mean, dating back to when Riel fought Oscar De La Hoya, like, those were the fun days. Those were our fun vacations.
That's understandable.
I guess I kind of knew I'd end up in boxing.
What having been a part of a lot of big events, what in your mind is the biggest event that you've been a part of?
I was thinking about this the other day, and it definitely has to be Mayweather McGregor. That was huge, and that was the combination of two different combat sports worlds coming together at the MGM. And I think I did like 15 miles walking that venue that night. It was just, it was insane. And once the bell rang, I was so happy. But in looking back, I'm like, that was a really, really big event. That was a huge historic event to have been part of. It was fun too.
Yeah. So you're responsible for, you said, the travel arrangements for the fighters, right? How's that been now at having to add in the COVID tests and everything else, all the protocols?
We've been really good because we've been lucky too, but we start testing the guys like 6-7 weeks out as soon as training camp begins. So we're monitoring it. They're really locking down their camps. We know kind of what we're getting when they get to fight week. They've already been tested so many times, and so have their trainers. So it's not really a big risk involved. But the testing, I mean, have you been? That swab is atrocious. I got tested the other day, and I'm like still not okay. My eyes are like watery. I mean, they jab that thing up your nose, but it's what we have to do right now, and to protect everyone, to keep everyone safe, and be able to still put on shows. And that's the fact that we're doing this week after week is it's really unbelievable if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just what has to go in to get it done. I mean, credit to Life. We also work with Life in Motion Group and Torsten Meyer, and he's killing it with the sanitization and the bubble and all the extra protocol, and the commissions are trying to stay on top of it and do the best they can too. There's a lot going into getting these shows.
Okay. Another thing that I've noticed, I don't know if you guys were doing it pre-COVID, but since COVID, was the Zoom, the pre-party Zoom that you host. I found them to be amazing. What made you decide to put that together? Is that something because I know if the fights were going on and everybody could go to the fights, there'd be more like live events like that. But what caused you to put that together?
That's actually Brandon and Marcus Watson. They started those a few years back, and it was mixed in with the champs. It was kind of like a pre-fight party. It was, for the fighters and sponsors and everyone who's in town for like a big pay-per-view event. And then once fans weren't allowed and we couldn't really get together in any other way, we decided to take it virtual, and it's turned out pretty fun. I mean, the guys, we get all the fighters involved. They have fun on there. They call each other out. We got Chris Ariola drinking a beer in his garage at the last one, two ago. We're bringing it back for December 12th or December 5th. It's going to be a bit different than our last one, but we like it. It's one way to have fun. Since we can't all be there together like the old days, this is the next best thing.
Understandable. Are you someone who watches boxing?
Yes, but usually I'm kind of biased. I like to only watch things we're involved in.
Well, then I understand. Well, my partner was supposed to be on.
I watch.
No, okay. He was supposed to be on. My partner was supposed to be on, and so we were supposed to have more questions for you. But so we have some topics. Do you mind talking boxing with me?
Yeah, no, we can talk boxing.
Okay. Do you want to talk? What do you think of Devin Haney's performance against Gamboa? Have you got to see that yet?
Yeah, I did. First of all, Gamboa, he's like the tough as nails. He's our fighter, actually. He was with us. We promoted that one, so I could talk that one. We're involved, but Gamboa is kind of like a true test to see where you're at in that division. So Haney put on a show. He's good. I like the kid.
I do too. I think he's got a good future. There was still, though, I think some people that thought that while Devin Haney did perform admirably when it came to actually boxing, they were more looking for him to put him away, put him to sleep, and have that spectacular statement victory in this fight. Because, to a lot of people, Gamboa isn't the same person that he was a few years ago. Even when he fought, Tank Davis, I think he injured his Achilles in that fight. But
yeah, that was a year ago, right? About a year ago. That was December of last year. Yeah, and people underestimated him in that fight too, and it took Tank a little bit to get him down, but he did it eventually. But Gamboa is no pushover, so I think Haney's performance was. I think it was a good performance.
I thought too that he he looked good. He definitely showed the boxing pedigree that he was built to have coming into the fight, and projected him into the future, his prospects. So a fight today got pushed back to January the 21st, which was Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell. What was your thoughts coming into that fight? Because Ryan Garcia, for me, is a guy he's more like hype than substance to me at this point in his career. And I like the kid, nothing against him personally, but he does a lot of talking on IG and hitting punching bags on IG, but I need to see something from Ryan here. And I'm really hoping that he shows it in that fight.
Yeah, I see he likes to call people out often on Insta. He's crossed over with him, though. I know a lot of the young girls are really into him too. So he's bringing a different crowd to the fights, or to the viewing of the fights. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. He hasn't really done much. I think he's got a while till I really make a judgment call on him. Got to see him fight someone pretty credible and do something.
I agree. He has been very, very vocal about fighting Tank Davis, someone you do work with. I would very much like to see that fight, because I think Tank would get him out of there. What would you think Ryan's prospects maybe would be in a fight against Tank?
I think Ryan needs to get more of a record going before he takes on Tank. Like, Tank's out of his league at the moment.
I think I definitely would agree with you there, particularly after the performance he gave us a few weeks ago. And Canelo's fight, I'm sure you heard, has been announced versus Calum Smith. Have you heard that? That's taking place December the 19th.
San Antonio.
Yeah, a lot of people had an issue with. Here's my thing. Calum Smith actually turned down $5 million back in March to fight Canelo. So he's known since March that I'm a viable Canelo opponent. So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is what Canelo does. He's only giving him 4 weeks." Well, Calum could have had a full camp back in March and took the $5 million, but he didn't want it and said he wanted $6 million. Now people are complaining because it's with Canelo. It's like it is with a lot of fighters. He's damned if he does, damned if he don't.
Right.
I personally like the fight. Calum's 27-0. He's right now. He's the ring champion, which lineal champion, if so having at that division. What do you think about that fight? And do you think that Canelo was wrong for only giving him 4 weeks?
No, and you stay ready. That's their job as fighters, and you're not. You should be like Floyd. Floyd was always ready. Floyd, stays in shape to this day. He's not even fighting anymore. I bet if anything, he'd stepped on a scale, he'd be perfect on weight and ready to go. There's lots of guys who take fights last minute, and for $6 million, I think I don't think anyone should be discrediting Canelo. What he's doing and offering this kid is a lot. Whether he gave him 2 weeks or 2 days, the kid should just get in there and take his opportunity to shine.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So, some news came out earlier this week, as we all know. Crawford put in a dazzling performance, knocking Brook out in the fourth round. It was more of a stoppage. And he looked every bit the number one pound-for-pound fighter they were proclaiming him to be, although, to be honest, the rankings that actually matter doesn't have him number one, but ESPN does, and I don't know when their list started to trump everyone else's, but that's something else I don't want to get into here. But after the fight, there were some things said by Both Arum that I found very interesting, and you work on the promotional end. What did you think about Bob's statement that first that he spent a fortune promoting Bud, and that Bud needs to promote himself, and that he's got to decide whether or not Bud's worth it? Because that's just especially when the contract's coming up. that's something. I don't know if I want my promoter saying all that. What did you think about that?
It's not our style. If you know my family and how we do we wouldn't say that or do that. If I were T-Bud, I'd be pissed off, truthfully. And this is the guy who's supposed to guide your career, not make you do it yourself. So I don't know. I think he probably has spent a lot of money, but that's part of the game. Look, not to say his name, but Andre Ward and what we did for him for years, and he was ungrateful. This is kind of the opposite.
Okay, I understand. And Bud did have a reaction out the gate of he went on that show that they do on DAZN, the podcast, and he told them basically told Arum, "Will release me now." Then he kind of came back and said, "Well, we'll work through it." But then he made a statement today that he said any fight between him and Errol Spence Jr., he has to get a 60-40 split. So that kind of told some people where the holdup in that fight really is, because I don't know, 60-40. Errol's the one selling pay-per-views, and I don't want to pick. I hate to pick sides in this issue, but that's a bit unrealistic, don't you think?
Yeah, and I don't think T-Bud's in the position to be calling shots on percentages. I think he should be grateful to get a fight with Errol. And I don't even like people talking about that fight when Errol's got a big fight coming up himself. He's got to get through Danny. I don't like the crediting him Danny Garcia. We haven't seen Errol since he's gotten back from his accident. He looks great. I saw him working out in the gym 2 days ago. I mean, he looks tremendous, and I believe everything's been fine, but Danny's no pushover either. So we got that fight to get through first. He's got bigger things to worry about than T-Bud at the moment.
I agree. That's a great point.
No disrespect, but yeah. So, but we're not. No one's stressing that right now.
So some news came out this week too about one of your fighters. I believe the fight's on your network. Patrick Texeira. Well, it concerns Jamel Charlo anyway. They've sent that GoldenBoy has bought the rights to that fight, his title defense. I know that Max Kellerman, he was on with Jamel and he told him you're the undisputed champion, but the truth is Patrick still has the WBO strap. He's got to get that. And we've had Derek on the show, and I think that they've expressed interest in having that fight. What do you give Alan much of a chance if he was to have that unification fight versus Jamel?
Do you think? What are you asking me? If I think the fight could happen, or if I think Mel would win?
Do you think Mel would win?
Oh, absolutely, 100%, 100%, no doubt. Did you see his performance? His performance and his pay-per-view was unbelievable. Wish I could have been there to see it live, but unbelievable.
Yeah, I asked Derek if he'd ever seen anybody get knocked out with a body punch like that. And he was like, he said he hadn't either. Well, Brittany, I very much appreciate you. I'm sorry my partner didn't show up. We'd had some more questions for you. So I hope I didn't forget anything.
No, that's okay.
You know what I mean? It was a pleasure talking boxing with you, and hope you'll come back again. And I hope I get an invite to the next pre-Zoom, pre-party.
You will. We'll be announcing it in the next week or two. So look out for that.
Awesome. All right, Danger Zone, we out.
Good night.
Yeah, y'all have a good night.
Thanks. All right.